Do you want to learn how I made this beautiful underbust corset within 30 minutes using a lace fabric? It is lightweight, it can easily be worn with any type of clothes, be it Ankara fabric, a plain material, an English material, whether a gown, a shirt and trouser, or a shirt and skirt. Anything it can be worn with. If you are actually interested in learning how I made this, then please subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification bell, and let us get started. Welcome back to my channel once again. You are highly welcome if you are a returning viewer, and if you are a new subscriber, thank you so much. I hope you get value for what you learn here. So now, one of the major things you need to understand is that underbust corset starts from the underbust, and after that, here are the measurements we are going to be taking. The first one is from your shoulder to your bust point, where your bust, the fullest part of your bust is. You measure it. Then also you take your tape measurement to where your bust stops at, that point where your breast stops at. Then also your waistline. To get the waistline from your abdomen, you come up by 3 inches. So you now place your tape rule from your shoulder to where that 3 inches is. That's your waistline. So here is the fabric I'm making use of. It is a chantilly lace, and I made sure it is not stretchy. Please, for this tutorial, you do not need a stretchy fabric. Also, for the lining, I am going to be using a veil net. So here's the veil net I'm using, and it is hard in texture and it is not stretching. Then for my regilling bone, I'm making use of a 0.375 regilling bone. Then lastly is my eyelet too. So here is my pattern paper, and I've ruled the starting lines already. The first measurement I'll input is my bust point, then the under bust point, and then the waistline. So whatever you measure, you will input it. And now I'm going to rule it out like so. This is just what we majorly need to plot this pattern. I'll label it my bust point, under bust, and my waistline. Then also I'll input my dart measurement, which is my nipple to nipple measurement. So half of it I will input, and I will mark it all through the lines like so. Whatever your nipple measurement is, you are going to mark it. So after that, when you check your underbust corset, you will see a slanted line on it. That slanted line, to get it, you will divide the nipple measurement again into 2, and that point you mark it to the upper bust point. And after that, you will erase this other line, so because this is our new line. Then afterwards, I will divide my round bust into 4, and I will impute it. And I also add 1 inch sewing allowance. I also do the same thing to my round waist. I will divide it into 4. I will impute what I got, and I will also add 1 inch sewing allowance to it. Then afterwards, I will connect it like so. There's this boxed effect on the lower part, just a little. So I'll come out by 1.5 inches because I don't want it to be too much. You can make yours 2, you can make it 3 inches, as the case may be. Then I'll connect it into the waistline. You can either use the straight ruler or the curve ruler, but I decided to go for the curve ruler. And you also have to extend the dart line into that point. Now, to get the curve, there's this bra curve. The first thing you have to do is to come in by ½ inch from the center front, just like the way you do on corsets. Then using your curve ruler, you connect it to the first dart line or around the under bust area. Then to get the second one, you will measure everything from your bust point onto your under bust point. After you've measured, you add ½ inch. Then with your curve ruler, you are going to connect it like so. Please make sure that the curve is very okay, because the breast needs to sit properly on that area. So I decided to go for another curve. Then after that, everything is ready. All you need to do now is to cut your pattern, but I'm going to label them first like so. So please study closely. If you have any question, ask me in the comment section. Then afterwards, I am going to cut. So look at the way I am cutting it. It might look a bit funny first, but trust me that you are going to see the result at the end of the video. So just take your time to cut like so. You can choose to join together like this, but I wanted the style line to show, so I did not join mine. So for the back, here is my pattern paper, and I've ruled the starting line. So what I'm just going to do is to place my front pattern on the back like so. Then I will rule out these lines. Just look at what I ruled, the bust point and the waistline. That's just the 2 lines I need. So those are the things I mark. Look at the way I marked everything. So after I've done that, what we got from our body measurement, I'll try to rule it out. Then using my ruler, I'll just connect every point together like this. So this is us transferring the front to the back. But you will notice that I did not transfer the back's waistline, the underbust to the back, because I don't need it. Then after labeling it, for my corset back, on the upper side I came in by 3 inches, and on the lower side I came in by 2 inches, and here it's what it looks like. So the back pattern is also ready, and now I'm going to cut everything. And also, before you cut your pattern, try to label them so you won't get confused. Your center back, your side back, up and down. Remember, you are transferring to a lace fabric and it can be very confusing. So here is what it looks like after I have cut them, and you can see the side how they look alike. To have transferred them to the fabric, and on the center front I added 1/2 inch sewing allowance because I wanted the style line there also, and I also added 1/2 inch round except the side front and the side back, and that's because I've added my 1 inch sewing allowance already before. So look at the center back, I added my 1/2 inch on every other part except the side front and the side back. I'll also show you the lining, our veil net. Please remember to iron your veil net first. You have to smoothen it with your iron before you cut it out, unless it will be rumpling. And make sure you are making use of a hard net. There are some nets that are not hard. Make sure you make use of a hard net. So here is what the lining looks like, and please make sure it is attached to your pattern every now and then because it can be confusing. So after arranging my front pattern like so, still using my pattern paper to check it so I won't get confused, I will arrange it to make sure it is okay. I will now go and join them like so. So here is what it looks like. I have joined it already, and I also opened the seam with my iron. And also, when you are ironing, make sure it is on a low heat, and also place a paper on the fabric to avoid it from burning or rumpling. Also, I have done the same thing to my veil net, and I've also opened the seam. Now I'm going to bring my back pattern because we are going to be joining the back pattern also. So this part is a bit tricky, especially when you're working with lace material. The back pattern, they look so much alike, so you won't even know which is side back or the center back. So please try to use your pattern paper to keep checking. Like that was I was doing here. Like now, this other one I almost got confused because I have mixed it up. Though I was not showing most of it here in the video, but I really got confused. So make sure you arrange your pattern very well before you sew them so you won't make mistake. So using that 1 inch sewing allowance, you sew it, and here it is. I have gone ahead to sew it, and I also opened the seam allowance using my iron. Please iron with a low heat. The chantilly lace does not need too much heat unless it will shrink. I have also gone ahead to join the back to the front pattern for my lining. Whatever you do on the front pattern, do it immediately on the lining. Now the next thing for us to do is to fix our regilling bone, which is also known as sewable bone. So you will measure your channel, then whatever you measure, you will remove 1.5 inch from it. Reason being that you will not want the boning to get into the sewing allowance. So now I'm going to be wrapping my regilling bone with a lace fabric also. You have to wrap it with a lace material, and I cut out a long lace and the width is 3 inches. So this is what I just did. I folded it into two like so. Then I placed my lace at the edge like so. Look at the way I'm placing it. Then I folded the lace again on top like so. So now I'll take it to the sewing machine, place the regilling bone on with the lace that has been wrapped already. I'll place it on my channel like so. Then I'll go and sew it. So you can choose to make yours on the outside or on the inside. Though I did mine on the outside, so as it will show that the channel was there. But please make sure it is neat, and when you are sewing, come down by 0.75 inch, number one. Then also number two, make sure that it picks the regilling bone also. Then now you sew on the side also. So here is what I did, as you can see, and it is very neat. Please make sure that your work is neat, and make sure that the regilling bone does not get into the sewing allowance. So now I've done everything for every of the other channels. You can add more regilling bone if you wish, but I'm satisfied with this. Then on the back area, from this tip I'll come in by 1.5 inches because we need to add a regilling bone on that side also, so that it will give the eyelet, that corset eyelet, it will give it enough stability. So after I've done that, I am going to bring in my lining, which is the veil net, and I'll place it on the main fabric like so. I'll pin it round. I'm going to pin it on the upper area because we're going to be turning it on the upper area for now. So I'm just going to take my time to pin it like so, and after I have pinned it, I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and sew with 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So then please follow every edge and tip. So now you need to notch first. One mistake I made was that I notched everything, but I did not trim. If you've been following me well, after I notch, I still make sure I trim the seam allowance a little bit so that it will not be too bulky on that area. But I didn't trim this, and I did not really like the way it looks like because I did not trim it. So after you've notched, try to trim. And after you trim, try to make sure you iron your fabric. So now I'm going to bring my regilling bone like this. That cup area, we need to make sure it is stable so it will not be looking too soft. So you just use your regilling bone to measure the cup area like the way I'm measuring, like so. Look at the way I'm measuring it. So you try to measure and cut out what you measured. The cups might be different. So now I'm also going to cut another fabric, another lace fabric, because we are going to be using to cover our regilling bone that we are going to be fixing on the cup area. So I also measure something around 3 inches for the width. I just cut any length that can cover the regilling bone. So you wrap it like the way we did for the boning channels, and you go and sew it. So this is what it looks like because I have sewn it already. So before fixing it, make sure that you turn your clothes to the right side, because you'll be putting it inside. It will be as in underneath. It will be inside the lining and the clothes. So after I've done that, I just tuck it in like this. You tuck it in on those points. If you measure your regilling bone well, it will be able to contain that bra area. So you tuck it in and you push it very well. Then you take it to your sewing machine and you will sew. But you make sure that as you are sewing it, it is very close to that point so that the regilling bone can push it. And also when you are sewing it, you know the regilling bone has a curvy effect. Do not force it out. That curvy effect will help the bra cup area. So now the next thing for us to do is to turn our, as in to join the lining on the down part. This part might be a little bit inconvenient, but you will get it. So I'll just pin it a little, then I'll just keep doing it like so, and I'll go and turn. After I did that, I turned them to the right side. Also, if you do not want to use regilling bone, you can use a bra wire of your bust size or your client's bust size. So now we are almost through with the tutorial. The next thing for me to do is I will fold in my fabric and the lining together like this using 1/2 inch sewing allowance, and I'll go and sew it. If you want to use if you do not want to use eyelet, if you want to use rope, you fix your rope inside. But I made use of eyelet, and this is what it looks like. I have a video on that also. Thanks for watching my video. See you in my next one. Until then, keep winning.